It's the start of a new month, so I'm going to share with you what's been on my mind this month. And what's been on my mind this month is what I've learned in my single life and what a privilege it has been to be single in my 20s, because I've always viewed being single as a negative thing. And I think that's because a goal of mine in life is I want to be married, I want to have kids, I want that dream family life. So whenever I'm single, I feel like I'm so far away from that. And I've always viewed that as a negative, especially if you tell someone that you're single. The older generation are the worst for it, because you are always met with the response of, "Oh, you're gonna find someone one day." And I'm thinking, girl, you don't have to tell me that. Like, I'm good being single, I'm fine. I know I'm gonna find someone one day, but I don't know, like, it's always viewed, I think, as a negative, but I'm going to tell you why it is such a positive. Before we get fully into it, I've made myself a banana matcha. I want you to go grab a drink as well, because I feel like I'm gonna talk a lot in this video. I've got a lot of things to say. A lot of thoughts have been happening around me being single and what I've learned, what I'm gonna do taking forward, what I'm gonna be looking for in my relationship. And I've also asked you guys to ask me questions about being single, because I want to make this video, number one, for single girls or single people in general. Number two, for people who are in relationships that don't want to be in relationships but don't know if they're going to survive being single. But this is also for the people in relationships that maybe they feel like their whole life revolves around their partner and being in a relationship. I think it's so good to have a life outside of your relationship as well, because I think when you're in a relationship, your relationship consumes your life. And that's going to be something that I take away from being single into my next relationship. I feel like I've built a life for myself that a partner can now add to. I'm not gonna have a partner that's gonna make my life, if that makes sense. So whether you're in a relationship, whether you're single, let's talk about being single. Go grab yourself a fun beverage, because fun beverages make everything more fun. The only thing is I can literally down this, so I'm going to try and actively sip throughout the video. I even have notes today, guys, because sometimes I feel like I've got loads of things to say. I'll sit down, I'll forget everything, and then while I'm editing, I'll be like, oh, I forgot to mention that, and oh, I forgot to mention that. But I think it's also been a way for me to kind of journal my thoughts, and it's made me appreciate so much that I've had this time to myself and that I've been single, because I'm personally someone that I've only ever really dated for marriage. I'm not into hookup culture. Not that I have anything against it, but for me, hookup culture was just never a thing. Like, I don't work well with hookup culture. I get too involved with feelings, and yeah, it's just not for me. But I've only ever really dated to get married. So I've been in a lot of long-term relationships, and I kind of got to a point where I was like, I've actually not been single for longer than a year. I mean, not everyone has to be, but I just felt like at this point in my life, I was so lost. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know how I could survive being by myself. And that's why, or like part of the reason why my last relationship broke down. I mean, the main thing for me was that I just had some self-discovery to be done. I think everyone has a lot of self-discovery to do, especially in their 20s, but some people can do it in relationships. I was someone that couldn't, because at the time when I had a partner, my partner was my everything. If my partner was having a bad day, I was having a bad day. If me and my partner were going through something, it would ruin my work life, it would ruin my social life, it would literally just ruin everything. So I had to get to a point where I was kind of an individual, and then when I now get a partner, my partner's just gonna add to my life, but I'm also gonna have a life outside of my partner, which I've never had before. So what sparked this conversation that we're gonna have today is I listened to a podcast, and it was actually called The Privilege of Being Single, And I didn't actually listen to the whole podcast, but that's kind of what got me thinking about things that I've learned in my single life and how I've survived, I guess, and how I have loved being single. Like, it's been a fantastic time. I feel like I've never felt more myself. I've never felt so connected with myself. I've never felt so independent. I feel strong. I feel happy. I'm happy with my social life. I'm happy with my family life, my work life. Every area in my life I feel I've got right. I do think I love my single life a little bit too much because I'm like, I'm gonna have to live with a man again. I'm gonna have to explain my weird single behavior. I'm gonna have to tell someone where I'm going, what I'm doing. That freaks me out a little bit. I feel like I've almost become a little bit too independent. So one of my favorite things about being single is the self-development and self-discovery that I've done. Self-development in that I've noticed some toxic traits that I had in relationships. I feel like I've been through enough relationships to now understand where I've gone wrong as well. We're in our accountability bag right now. I've taken accountability for where I've gone wrong in relationships. I've worked on that part of myself, and now going into my next relationship, I won't carry that again. Or maybe I will, but I'll notice it and then I'll fix it. I've taken this time to think about goals and things that I want to do in the future, and then figured out ways on how I can work towards them, whether it's a work goal or a life goal. Finding fulfilling goals is so important, and then starting to work towards them. So a goal of mine was that I wanted to prioritize my social life again and my fitness life, because that was one thing when I get into a relationship, and I think this rings true for a lot of people. When I get into a relationship, no one else exists. I am in my little love bubble. I am such a lover girl. I'm such a romantic. The only person, this sounds terrible and I will never do this again, but the only person that really matters to me in that time, or like not really matters, but the only person I want to be with, I would cancel plans on my friends just to be with my partner. Like, I only want to be with my partner. That is a terrible, terrible trait. One that I will never fall into again. But coming out of my relationship, one of my goals was to fix my friendships. Not that they were broken. My friendships have never been broken. But I wanted to get to a place where I was so, so close to my friends that even when I next get into a relationship, that is not gonna break. Like, I will see my friends just as much as I see them now. Maybe not just as much, because I do see my friends a lot because I've got so much free time, but I will never let that slip again. I wanna make sure that I prioritize my friends at least twice or 3 times a week. There's goals that I set being single that I won't now flake on when I get into a relationship, if that makes sense. Like my social life, my workout life, my work life. And I think it's really important when you're single to have goals anyway, because you kind of feel like you're working towards something. And I think sometimes especially when you're newly single and you're kind of trying to navigate single life, every day can just feel very mundane and very like flat. Where the partner would usually fill that void, no one's there to fill it anymore. So it feels very lonely, it feels very flat. Whereas if you're working towards a goal, or if you're working towards something in general, then it just feels a bit more, like life feels a bit more fulfilling. So like I said, one of my goals in life is to be married and have a family. I want babies, I want to be a wife, and I can't wait for that. But while I've been single, I have built my own life that I'm going to keep separate to my relationship and to my married life. I think it's so important, even if you're in a relationship right now, you should have your life outside of your partner. Number one, I will always say this, but people can come and go in and out of your life, whether that is by choice, whether that is not by choice. Life can sometimes throw a little curveball. Shit happens. Not everything in life is guaranteed. So it is so important to have a life outside of your partner. If you make your partner your whole life, If that ever goes away, what are you left with? You're left with no friends, no hobbies, no desire for anything else. Like, it's lonely and it's terrifying. So I think it's really important to have a life outside of your partner. Find hobbies. Otherwise, your life is literally just work and then a holiday twice a year, or it's work and your partner. Life is so boring if you don't have things to look forward to and hobbies, and you can literally just be working to live. Where is the fun in that? And think back to when you was in school and you used to do all of the hobbies in school, like whether you played netball or whether you did drama. It took me a while to find mine and find ones that actually stuck, because I've tried a lot of hobbies. I've tried ballet, I've tried horse riding, I've tried Pilates, I've tried cooking, I've tried a multitude of things. Some have stuck, some have definitely not. I found hobbies now that I really look forward to every week. I love my Pilates classes. I genuinely look forward to them. Also, community is really important as well. And when I say community, I mean the people around you. I heard this recently and I thought it was so true. And it's some of the most miserable people are the people that feel like they don't need anyone. I think that is so true. Some of the most miserable people I know are the people that are like, I don't need anyone, da da da. Everyone needs someone. I would not want to exist on this planet if other people weren't here. I just think that would be a miserable existence. And I was someone who definitely thought you can't, not that you can't make new friendships when you're older, but I was just thinking, I like to keep my circle small. I like that the friendships that I have now kind of know me and know the bad things and the good things about me. Like, I don't need to make new friends. I have made some of my best friends in my adult life, because as I've evolved as a person, I've found people with similar interests to me. I have all of my friends from when I was a child and when I was younger, and we've got the most incredible connection, but I'm not necessarily aligned with them where we are in life. I mean, my best friend of 27 years is now a mum and has 2 babies, and our lives just look completely different, but she will always be my best friend. But I've now made friends that I go to Pilates with, I have matcha with, I have found similar and common interests. I also have my community at Pilates. I don't see them outside of Pilates. I see a couple of the girls outside of Pilates, but I like that there's a few girls there that I see occasionally where we'll just have a little bit of chit chat. And I think as well, because I work from home and don't really work in like an office environment, I don't work around people, I think being outside and being in communities like Pilates is really important for me, because otherwise I'm on my own pretty much all day. So I think community is a huge one. I've also spoken in my last video where I did something like this about speaking to strangers. I love speaking to strangers. I actually spoke to this woman the other day and she was giving me tips on how to invest my money and where to put stocks and shares and things like that. You can learn so much from strangers. I mean, this woman was in her, I'd probably say she was about 60, but she looked about 50. Speaking to older people, they are the key. Have conversations with older people. They're not boring. They're actually very, very interesting. If you are out of a relationship, please don't jump to the next relationship just because you need to fill that void. Actually just sit with the boredom and the loneliness for a little bit. That's actually moved me on to my next topic quite well. I love being bored now. I think we live in a generation and we live in a time where we're constantly overstimulated, that we can't find enjoyment in being bored, because as soon as we're bored, we have maybe thoughts that we don't want to listen to. So we'll either put background noise on, or we'll watch TikToks, or we just constantly are overstimulated. I started sitting with boredom and loneliness for a while, found out so much about myself. This is where, when I'm sat with my bored and lonely thoughts, that's where I come to all of these realizations about what a great time I've had being single. And I kind of think a little bit deeper when I'm in silence. I'm also super creative when I'm in silence. I come up with my video ideas, I come up with concepts for shoots. I come up with a lot of my creative ideas when I'm bored and when I'm on my own. So I think there's actually so much beauty in being bored. When I look back on when I was like 23, 24, I had no idea who that was. I still look back at that girl and I'm like, I remember you, and you were really lonely and lost and had no idea who you were. It's taken me to actually be alone and be with myself to understand what I like, what music I like, what food I like, what brings me joy in life. I don't know whether I would have learned that if I was in a relationship, because I was someone where I was such a people pleaser that whoever I was with at the time, I would adapt to them. So whatever they thought was cool, I would think was cool. And however they dressed, I wouldn't copy them, but I would dress to how I think they would like me to dress, if that makes sense. So my style was never the same. I was constantly changing style depending on who I was around. I was changing the language I used. I would change what I was interested in, or like, not what I was interested in. I would always show an interest in what they was interested in. Whereas now I will come to you fully myself. This is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is how I dress, this is what I'm into. If you don't like it, that is so fine. I'm not for everyone. But if you do like it, fantastic, we're gonna be best friends or we're gonna be in a relationship. I will only ever come now as my truest self, nothing else. And if you like it, great. If you don't, also great. I actually heard this quote the other day that was like, I can't remember what the quote was actually, but it was about people pleasing, and it was basically saying if you're trying to people please everyone, you're not going to please anyone. Something that I realized while I've been single is, and I realized this because I had a conversation with my mum, and I said to my mum, I don't think I will ever in my life 100% trust a man. I'm gonna feel really dumb for saying this right now, but I was so like in my I hate men era. Not even that I hate men, I just felt like I would never trust a man ever again, ever. Like not 100%, maybe 98%, which is a very high percentage, but never 100%. And she was like, you know, there's some really good men out there. And I was like, there probably is, but you know, everyone makes mistakes and people can slip up, which is so true. But I, in that conversation, said a lot of things that, as I was saying it, I was like, I've become so cynical. I also think that's partly to do with TikTok, because there's a lot of men hate on TikTok, okay? And I don't always necessarily think that's healthy. I think sometimes it's funny and it's like, haha, like men are stupid and whatever. But I don't always think that's healthy. I think there's a lot of shitty men out there, but I do also think there's a lot of good men out there. But in this conversation that I had with my mum, I realized how cynical I'd become. And I actually spoke in my last video about being cynical and how it can age you. And I was like, it definitely shows that if I went into a next relationship and I was super cynical about it, it almost shows that I've had relationships in the past. I've had a lot of relationships in the past and I've learned from them. I've become cynical and it's gonna age me. And I was like, whoa, I need to undo the cynical thoughts right now, because I don't want to be a cynical person anyway. I want to just be a very happy-go-lucky person. I like to be a sunshine kind of person. And I was having really cynical thoughts towards men. So I've kind of had to unlearn that. And now I'm more of the mindset of, I will trust you. I will give you my 100% trust until you prove me otherwise. But I'm just ready for the otherwise. I'm always ready for the otherwise. My next relationship, I will be going into it 100% trusting the man. And I've not been in a relationship like that for a very, very long time. I've always kind of been on edge. I've always, if there's been a phone on the side or an iPad on the side, I've always been a bit like, ooh, is that a locked and loaded device right there? But going into my next one, I will trust you 100%. I won't go looking. I won't think anything badly of you unless you give me a reason otherwise. And that's the kind of relationship I want. I don't want to go into a relationship thinking, what's on your phone? I don't want to go into a relationship thinking there's a 2% chance on this boy's holiday that is going on this stag do that is going on, that he's going to cheat on me. I don't want even 1% of me to think that my partner's going to cheat on me. But it's almost taken me to be single for a while to come to that realization, because I think the more relationships that I've gone in, the less and less I've trusted men. So if I didn't take this time to be single and kind of like realign my thoughts, I would have got into my next relationship probably trusting him like 50%. Like I said, I want a life outside of my relationship. If my man is going away, or he's on a night out, or he's away with work, I'm not going to be thinking about what he's up to or what he's doing. I'm going to be thinking, great, I'm going to take this time, I'm going to cook myself my favorite dinner while he's away. I'm going to invite my girls over, I'm going to have girls' night. I'm going to have a life outside of my relationship by force. So if that relationship ever comes to an end, my life doesn't come to an end. It's just a relationship, and I'll perhaps move on. But I can't ever be in a relationship again where he is my entire life. No way. So if your partner is away on a boys trip or is away doing something, you're not sat there like, what am I gonna do with myself while my boyfriend's away? Like, no, I've got plenty of things that I can be doing right now. It's what scares me a little bit, because I'm thinking I'm gonna be looking forward to the times where my boyfriend is away, because I almost think I enjoy single life a little bit too much. Like, how am I meant to live with a man ever again? Well, that's another thing. Just take this time now and think, I don't have to tell anyone where I am or what I'm doing or where I'm going, or I don't have to explain myself to anyone. I can go on as many dates as I want to. 2 in 1, if that's what you're on. I mean, I've got a friend that sometimes goes on 2 dates in one day, and I'm like, her single stories, she told me one over the weekend, her single stories are hilarious. Like, she's really just taking this time, kind of assessing what kind of man she wants. You know, she's like testing the waters with multiple, but then she can decide. This is another thing I wanted to talk about actually. When I talk about being single, I don't just mean being single in dating. I mean being single to the point where your phone is literally dry. My phone has been dry for months. I've had requests, okay, but I've just not taken anyone up on the request. I actually enjoyed not having anyone's son ruining my day. In my single time, I didn't have a love interest. I was genuinely 100% single. Okay, there's been like a few love interests, but I've also had periods, and when I say periods, I mean months, where I've had no one. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted to share. I also got you guys to ask me some questions over on Instagram about life being single. So I'm gonna have a little look. Oh, there's a guy here that has literally sent over his CV. I'm the right guy, rich, handsome, and 6 foot. Let's go for dinner. I mean, rich, handsome, and 6 foot. Let's go with this one. Do you ever get lonely? Of course I get lonely, especially because I live by myself, I work by myself. When I didn't have a love interest, maybe I do now. But when I didn't have a love interest, yeah, it was a little bit lonely, especially when you hear, or like not all of my friends, but like some of my friends are in relationships, and when you hear about their relationships and how loved up they are, or I heard about my other friends going on dates, and then there were some nights where I'd just be kind of sat in on my own. Yeah, I did get lonely. I kind of embraced the loneliness because I thought, once I'm married and once I've got kids, I'm gonna look back and think, I fucking wish I was lonely again. My friends who have got children are like, I'm so jealous of the time you get by yourself, because I don't get a minute to myself anymore. This might be the only quiet period that I get in my life, so enjoy it. So I'll put a movie on that I love, or I'll cook my favorite meal, or I'll go out and try something new, or even doing something in like a class setting, so you're around people. You don't necessarily have to go out with your friends if your friends are busy or your family's busy. Like, you can do things with strangers. You can take yourself out for dinner and maybe start up a conversation with someone, compliment someone. I do that all the time now. I not even make it a goal, because it's not even a goal for me every day, but if I see something that I like on someone, I will tell them. And sometimes that sparks a conversation. Sometimes I'll just go, oh, thank you. Either way, it's a good feeling for me. So, and I just think it makes you feel good once you've complimented someone and you can tell the person's been like, oh, and it's kind of made their day. It also makes your day as well. To answer that, I do get lonely, but I've found a way to enjoy the loneliness. And I think enjoying the lonely, mundane, bored parts of your life, which, let's be honest, make up a lot of your life, finding ways to enjoy it will give you a more enjoyable life in general, because the big events that happen don't come around very often. I always say that, but like birthdays and celebrations and holidays and things like that probably only make up like 30% of your life. So you've got 70% of your life, which is pretty mundane. You need to enjoy it. You need to find enjoyment in it. If ever I do feel really lonely, where I feel like I need to talk to someone, FaceTime is a thing, or just call someone you've not spoke to in a while. Even if you just call your nan just to tell her that you love her, or I don't know, that will make you feel really good as well. And sometimes you just need that little feel good factor to then spark an interest in, okay, now I feel good, I'm gonna go and watch my favorite movie, I'm gonna run myself a bath, I'm gonna have a glass of wine, whatever it is that you do to enjoy your time. Just go and do that. Romanticize everything. Wow, someone said, not a question, but a big believer in become who you're looking for. Wow. Colette, that is so true. I want to be the partner that I'm looking for. I've really given that to myself. You know what? I always wanted a rich husband. I'm my own rich husband now. I pay my bills. I support myself. I buy myself designer bags. I am actually the person that I've been looking for. I give myself so much unconditional love. I live a healthy lifestyle. And you know what? I bring so much to the table now for my next partner that I think that's another thing. Sorry, off topic again. But when I used to go on dates, I used to always get really nervous, because I'm like, oh my God, what if they don't like me? Sorry, my camera overheated then. But I don't know, I just used to get super nervous. Whereas now, I'm kind of going into it like, I know what I bring to the table, and I bring a lot to the table. So what are you gonna bring to the table? I literally do not get nervous, because I know that I'm good by myself. I'm not desperate to find someone where I'm like, oh, I really need this to go well because I need a boyfriend. I don't need a boyfriend. I'm so sure of myself that if you don't like me, you've got something wrong with you. I'm joking. But no, if you don't like me, then that's fine. It's not meant to be. I need to like you. I'm not going into this thinking, I hope he likes me. I'm going into this thinking, I hope I like him. How to be happy on your own and stop yearning for a relationship. I'm feeling really unwanted. Okay, so first thing that I'm going to tell you to do here is switch your mindset. This is how I know I've been speaking for way too long, because my camera has overheated once again. But yeah, that's what I was going to say. Shift your mindset to not thinking I'm not good enough or why can't I find someone. Think you are actively choosing to be single right now. There are options out there, but you are choosing to be single. You're working on yourself while you're single, and your man is out there, or your lady is out there waiting for you to work on yourself, and then you'll find each other. I think when you look for someone, you can almost overlook things. Because you're looking, you see past certain negative traits. I don't know. I don't believe in looking for a partner. I believe that it will happen by destiny. Maybe that's like me being delusional. I don't know, but just shift your mindset and don't make this about you. Make it about you, but not in like a why can't I find someone? Am I not good enough? Make it more like I'm choosing to be single right now until someone comes along that's good enough, and then we'll take it from there. Someone said, what's the problem? Exactly, girl. What is the problem in being single? There's no problem in being single. There's actually a lot of joy in it. Advice on being a single girlie who doesn't drink or party. Lonely but also empowering. I don't really drink or party. I've literally spent the past weekend in Paris partying all weekend, but I don't usually go, I never go out in Manchester. I've never met someone on a night out because I don't go on nights out to meet people. And if I do go on nights out, I'm definitely not looking for a man. I'm usually with my girls, having a good time with my girls, so I completely get it. Just talking to people, going out into coffee shops, I feel like we've become such an antisocial generation. It's time to become social again, people. Like, I am so down for conversations with strangers. You can't sit at home and be like, why am I not meeting anyone? Or you can't sit at home, not be on a dating website, don't want to go out, and be thinking, why can't I meet someone? You have to actively, if you want to meet someone, go out into the public and be seen, you know? Like, no one's gonna find you if you're sat in your room questioning why you can't make friends or why you can't find a partner. So just get out there and try and gain that little bit of confidence to start speaking to people. How have you built self-esteem without validation from someone? Listen, this took me, sorry that was a big slam, but this took me so long because I had to get validation from a guy for so long. But again, shifting your mindset and giving you the love, giving yourself the love that a partner would give you, being kind to yourself, buying yourself flowers, taking yourself on dates, positive, this is gonna sound so cringe, but positive affirmations in the mirror. If a guy would tell you that you're beautiful, tell yourself in the mirror that you're beautiful. There's so much power in that, and I feel like people don't do it because they're cringing at themselves. People tell you to do it for a reason, because it actually works. Give yourself the damn love that a guy would give you in a relationship. Give yourself friendship love too, family love. That's how you start not seeking validation from other people, because you love yourself so much that you don't need that validation. Okay, we're gonna end it on this one. What do you do for your solo date nights? Or I'm gonna say solo days in general. When you're single, you're gonna need the solo dates to give yourself some loving as well. So my favorite things to do on solo dates is, I did try and take myself out for a nice like date night spot dinner. I didn't particularly enjoy that because I did actually find myself feeling quite lonely and being like, not necessarily that I wanted to be there with a guy, but I just wanted either like a girlfriend there or my mum there or a guy or whatever. So that didn't work for me personally. I know some of my friends have done that and love it, but for me that just didn't work. I will take myself out to a matcha spot. I like going to the cinema alone. That's another thing. If you're doing something solo, don't just think, oh, just because I'm on my own, I don't need to make an effort, I don't need to dress up. Dress up for your damn self. Put some makeup on. Make yourself feel amazing. Take the time that you would take if you was going on a date with a guy. And this is another form of self-love and how you're going to fall in love with yourself and be the person that you've been looking for this whole time. Because if you're willing to put that much effort in for yourself, that shows you how highly you view yourself. Again, when you're actually in a relationship, you'll view yourself so highly because you're dressing up for you the way you would dress up for your partner. You're showing up for yourself that much that you'll view yourself in a higher regard. But yeah, going to the cinema, getting matcha. If I'm at home, I like to look at a recipe on TikTok, go and buy all the stuff, then cook for myself, have some jazz music on in the background, have a little glass of red wine, romanticize making dinner or romanticize a bath routine, putting some bubble baths in, going to Lush. Or I've actually really liked watching a YouTube video, like a makeup tutorial, and then even if I'm not going anywhere, just going and practicing makeup or like trying something new, because I think when you're doing your makeup, you're usually going somewhere where you don't want to try something new in case it looks bad. So take them nights where you're on your own and feeling lonely, put a YouTube video on in the background or a makeup tutorial, try something new with your makeup, try the eye palette that you've been too scared to use, or try doing a black eyeliner even though you've never done it, and then you might actually come out with something really great. Or even like hair or a new fake tan, I don't know. I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like these kind of videos, I'm thinking about doing one a week. I just want to gauge the situation right now. So if you like these kind of videos that are like a podcast style, maybe it's on my radar at the minute that I want to do a podcast. I just have a lot of things to say. But yeah, if you like these kind of videos, please let me know. If you are single, enjoy this time, view this time as a privilege. It is so much fun. There's so much self-development and self-discovery to be had. When you find someone eventually, you will look back on this time with so many fond memories. You will look back on this time when you've got kids and you're thinking, I loved being lonely and the quiet moments. And also you'll look back on this time and think this was so necessary for my growth in life. Like, I've actually never been as happy as I am right now because I know so much about myself, and I know that my next relationship will be my happiest and my healthiest. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so much, and I will hopefully see you in the next video.